These have been listed on Facebook Marketplace for over 6 months and they haven't sold yet, so it's time to do something about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Furniture Flipping Teacher. I'm Lauren, and in this video we are going to be redoing a pair of nightstands that I did back in May of this year. They have been sitting on Facebook Marketplace. I think I started them to sell around $400 and I've lowered them to $350. I've gotten a couple of offers for like $200 to $250, but I just haven't been able to accept that low of an offer for these really nice nightstands. So instead of accepting an offer lower, I want to show you guys how just a couple of tweaks in my thinking should help these sell much quicker and get them off of the market very fast. So when I first did these nightstands, I knew that it was kind of a risk going with this color. It's called Eastern Acorn by Lily Moon Paint. It is a gorgeous color, but it totally is only going to fit in with a handful of people's home decor. And clearly in my market, at least over the last 6 months, there hasn't really been anyone that wanted this as their decor, which is totally okay. And then plus, I feel like there's some design issues with the overall look of these nightstands, not only just the color. So we're gonna also tackle those, and I'll give you my thoughts about what things I think could be changed to make these a little bit more desirable, even if the color was staying the same. I'm first going to go ahead and remove the hardware. And I also want to reiterate that it's not the first decision that I make when I am deciding whether or not I should redo a piece of furniture. I'm typically doing other things as well, like restaging them and giving them better photos, making sure my lighting is on point, making sure the description is really descriptive, and also answering any people's questions. But then also I am taking a look at my Facebook Marketplace listings, and when it's been a couple of weeks, I'll take it down and I'll relist it so that way it's fresh on the page, etc., etc. So I've done pretty much all of those things and there's still no sale. So this is kind of a last resort method that I have done. This is actually only the second time that I have ever redone a piece of furniture that didn't sell right away. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm not saying you need to go change all of your designs for all of the furniture that you've done that won't sell quick enough for you. Just a heads up that that is not the case, unless maybe it's been several months and you're ready for a quicker turnaround. So I'm gonna remove all of the hardware. It's been a little while, so I forgot that it's actually this type of hardware, so I don't even need my screwdriver. I'll definitely be keeping this for a future project. I don't think I'm gonna use it again on this piece. We'll see. Stick around. Another thing that I am gonna remove, and I'm gonna remove them for good this time, are these little keyholes. They're fake escutcheons or something like that. And I am going to be filling in the holes that these have because I just think it takes away a little bit from the overall design, trying to bring it a little bit more into the modern day, and these just need to go. So we'll be filling these holes in with some Bondo. So I am going to be using the Bondo, or this is the same thing as Bondo. It's JB Weld Wood Restore Repair Putty. Same exact thing. It's got two parts, which I forgot my other part. It's got a part in the can, and then it's got the cream hardener. And so once you mix those together, it'll start that chemical reaction and it'll start to harden up pretty quickly. So I am gonna be filling in everything on these today. I'm just not 100% sure what direction I wanna go on the hardware, and I wanna have options. So I figured it might as well be, or it'll be easier to just cover everything. And then if I wanna drill the same holes, awesome, but I do wanna kind of just play with it, see if I wanna do handles, knobs, etc. We'll mix that up until it's like one nice consistent color. And then we'll just start filling in the holes. While the Bondo is hardening up, I am gonna just go ahead and prep these for paint because I'm gonna be changing the color of paint, but I am not gonna be changing the top color. I really like how I did these. If you remember this flip at all, then you'll know that these nightstands had really destroyed tops, and I had to I had to take off the top completely and rebuild it from a piece of pine board, and I routed the edges, I screwed it back on, and I stained it. So these are a labor of love, and I really like how they turned out still, and the color that I'm going to use on the bases of these is still going to go with the dark stain. It's just, you know, going to be a different color down below. So I love to use this Scotch blue pre-taped painter's plastic for taping off tops like this. It really just is so simple. You just tear it off however much you need, and then you tape it on to the sides. You probably have to use some tape on the edges that doesn't have the tape built on, but at least it gets you started. Okay, Bondo's dry, and I've got a 120 grit on my Surf Prep sander. This is going to sand back all of the Bondo. Then we'll have a smooth surface. I'm not really gonna worry about smoothing or sanding the other existing paint. And I get questions a lot on like previously painted pieces on if you need to sand that off or if you need to prime, etc. I would definitely recommend that you make sure that it's not flaking off or failing in any way. A lot of the times there's previously painted pieces that just hasn't been done the right way, and the paint can start to flake off, and obviously if you put paint over the top of that, then it's just gonna start to flake off too. Now I know, because I did this set, that this is really durable paint, and I'm just basically acting as if I'm putting more layers of paint on it. So in this case, I'm not worried about that. If I sand through some of the paint areas, then I may have to address that and see if I need to prime in those little, like some spot primer. But generally I should be okay, just depending on how far I go down with my sander. Okay, we got everything smoothed out and it's looking great. Everything's feeling good. So next, I am gonna take out the drawers and wrap them up so that we don't get any paint on the inside of the drawers. I'm gonna be using the same stuff that I used to wrap the top, except it's a little bit of a smaller roll. And this is, again, just gonna protect where I don't want the paint. So for a color on these nightstands, last time I did a pair of nightstands, which really wasn't too long ago, they sold super fast for $400, and I had them listed for $450, I think, or $425, and I just decided to take $400. So I really think that the color I used, which was like a deep navy, almost black color, was really popular. And so I am going to do a similar color. That was a mix of some random blues that I had, and this time I am going to make it a little bit more dark, and I think I'm gonna go a little bit more black. I've got some black paint in my spray gun already, and I'm going to be adding some dark blue paint to the mix in order to kind of get a deep dark navy color. So I'm going to be using the color Nautical from Dixie Belle's Silk Paint, and then what's already in here is Anchor from Silk Paint, and I'll just mix it up once it's in the container. Not really going to know the ratio because I didn't measure. I'm just going to make sure that I have enough, you know, for full coverage on the nightstands so that I don't have to mix anymore. And then we would have like an off color. I added in just a little water to thin it out a bit. All right, we're gonna be testing my spray pattern on the cardboard here and also getting all that black paint out of the pipe that was in there. That way we can have a fresh, consistent look. And this is my HomeRite Super Finish Max sprayer that is going to help me get this job done pretty quick. Now that coat 1 is dry, I am going to go ahead and drill the new hardware holes. I have decided on the hardware, and I think they're really gonna pop against this deep black navy color. And so they're gonna be actually handles. So I just need 2 holes on each section. The one that kind of looks like it's 2 drawers, but it's really 1 drawer, I'll do 2 bars on, and then on these bigger ones, I'll do 1 bar on. So I love to use my hardware jig here. I've already got it set to the size that I want. And now I just need to place it in the middle of the drawer. You can kind of use the old holes to guide you if you can still see them. The goal obviously is that you can't still see them, but mine are a little bit visible, which I'm gonna fix here in a minute. And then you'll also probably need to use a tape measure just to measure in case you are not in the middle, to figure out the middle. 20 1/4, so that'd be 10 1/8 to be the middle. No, these are 8 1/2-ish, 8 3/8, so 4 and a little bit. Now that we got the hardware holes all drilled, it's time to do coat number 2 on these, and I'm just gonna lay it on its back. That way I can get all of the underside just in case there's any that I missed. I don't want any orange popping through. Are about to be finished up. I essentially got them done in one day, the redo of them, but it is technically the second day because I was waiting for the paint to dry so that I could put the new hardware on. So I definitely could have waited around until it was dry yesterday, but I didn't feel like it. So sometimes the quick updates of the pieces, if you need to do something like this, could only take you a day and make a huge difference. So I am going to go ahead and remove the plastic on these, get the drawers in and the hardware on. They're finished. I love them. I liked the Eastern Acorn color, but I think that these just completely changed the look of them, obviously, but I feel like they're so much more higher scale. They're so much more modernized. They're going to be able to fit in so many more homes. I can't wait to get these listed on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm thinking I'm gonna list them around $425 to $450, and we'll see how quickly they sell. Like I said, I kind of chose this dark navy color because the last time, which was like, not even a month ago, I had the very similar color nightstands. They were a little bit of a different style, but they sold within less than a week. So I'm excited to get these listed so that we can make a quick turnover instead of having to wait for 6 months like we had to wait 6 months for those to not sell before. But I think the color truly does make a difference. It's sometimes worth it and fun to try new colors, but overall, unfortunately, sticking with the more trendy, modern colors like this is going to sell a lot quicker than the more out there, bold colors. No matter how fun it is, sometimes you just gotta appeal to the market so that you can make sales on your furniture flips. So let's go over the numbers on these pieces. So originally I bought these nightstands for $80, and on the first makeover I spent $70 on all of the materials, including the paint, primer, hardware, the tops, etc. So that's $150 in starting this project. And so the paint that I added on costs about another $25. The Bondo was about $5 in product that I used, and then miscellaneous things like tape and plastic, things like that, I'm gonna account $10 for. And then the hardware, I'm not really gonna add anything for hardware because I still have the other hardware that I purchased for these that's back in the shop, and I'll definitely use that on another. So that was already factored in from the beginning, and this hardware was a similar price. So we're in at $40 more, so $190 in on these nightstands, which is definitely a little more than I would typically try to spend on nightstands like this, because obviously we want to get a bigger profit, but larger nightstands like this can tend to sell for that $450 to $425 range. So we're looking at around a $200 to $250-ish profit margin there. So I'll definitely take that. That's a couple $100. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will let you know when these nightstands sell. I am going to be listing them on Facebook Marketplace here right now as we speak. So thanks so much for watching. Get subscribed down below. I'll be back with another furniture flip or DIY project next Thursday, and I'll see you on the flip side. Well, my theory worked. I listed these yesterday, and here we are the next day. In less than 24 hours, they are going to be sold. That just shows you that the color truly matters, but not only the color, also the different things that I did to the pieces. Aside from just painting it a different color, I removed all of the busyness of the hardware that I feel like was going on. The placement of the hardware was changed, and I modernized it a lot with the new pulls instead of using some of the old pulls and keeping the keyhole in the top drawer. I think overall, just making them more simple is what helped them sell super fast for $435. I am gonna get them all wrapped up so that the client can come and pick them up. These were just listed on Facebook Marketplace, you guys. I can tell you that I do have some pieces and mostly the larger sets still sitting, but I think it's because I do have them at a higher price point. So don't get discouraged. If you are, waiting for a couple of pieces to sell, try and relist them like I talked about at the beginning of the video, but maybe it is time to relook at the design style that you chose, and maybe it's not appealing to enough people, so maybe you need to adjust the look of your piece overall. I think that this just goes to show you that color truly does matter. I've got a little paint sample here that I always like to include with my pieces, that in case anything ever goes wrong or this piece gets scratched, they'll be able to touch it up themselves. And this paint already has top coat in it, so I don't need to include any type of top coat, because if you just paint this on, it should look exact same. So I'm gonna get these wrapped up.